The first time Chen walked into his father's modest apartment after becoming a millionaire, he found the old man bent over the kitchen sink, gripping the counter so hard his knuckles had gone white. Sweat beaded on his father's forehead as he fought against the pain that had become his constant companion. Brutal reminder that success doesn't shield the people we love from suffering. "Dad, please, let me get you the best doctors, the best treatment. Money isn't an issue anymore." Marcus had said this 100 times, and each time his father, Robert, would shake his head with that stubborn pride that had carried him through 40 years of factory work. "I'm fine, son. Your mother takes care of me. That's all I need." But Marcus could see his father wasn't fine. The arthritis had spread through Robert's body like wildfire, twisting his hands into gnarled shapes, making every step an ordeal. The man who had once carried Marcus on his shoulders, who had worked double shifts to pay for his education, now couldn't open a jar without crying out in pain. What broke Marcus's heart even more was the guilt he saw in his mother. Linda's eyes every time he visited. She was 72, her own body showing signs of age, yet she insisted on caring for Robert alone. She would wave away his offers for home health care, for a live-in nurse, for a move to a better facility with round-the-clock care. "We've been together for 50 years, she'd say softly. "I can take care of my husband." Marcus had built his fortune in tech, selling an app that revolutionized online learning. The money had poured in faster than he'd ever imagined. $12 million. Overnight, when the company went public, he'd bought himself a penthouse, a sports car, invested wisely. But none of it meant anything when he watched his father struggle to lift a coffee cup or saw his mother's exhausted face trying to hide how overwhelmed she was. One Thursday afternoon, Marcus decided to drop by unannounced. He had a new plan to present, a state-of-the-art assisted living community, just 15 minutes from his place, where both his parents could have their own spacious apartment with full medical support. He'd even prepaid the first year, but when he arrived at the house, something was different. His father wasn't in his usual recliner. The apartment was eerily quiet. "Dad?" Marcus called out, his heart beginning to race. "Mom?" He checked the bedroom. Empty. The bathroom. Nothing. Panic started to set in, until he heard something from the basement. Voices, his mother's voice, and others he didn't recognize. Marcus descended the stairs slowly, confused. His parents never used the basement. It was just storage, old furniture, boxes of memories. But as he reached the bottom step, what he saw stopped him in his tracks. The basement had been transformed into a makeshift physical therapy center. Exercise mats covered the floor. There were resistance bands hanging on hooks, a sturdy railing installed along one wall, and in the center of it all was his father, standing upright, taking careful steps with his mother on one side and two other elderly people on the other, all of them encouraging him. "That's it, Robert. 5 more steps. You're doing great." His mother's voice rang with an energy Marcus hadn't heard in years. But that wasn't all. As Marcus's eyes adjusted to the lighting, he realized there were 5 other elderly people in the basement. Some were doing gentle stretches. 2 were helping each other with arm exercises. An old woman was slowly pedaling a stationary bike that looked like it had been salvaged from someone's garage. "Marcus!" His father spotted him, and despite the pain clearly etched on his face, there was something else there, too. Pride. "Look, son, I walked 12 steps today. 12! Last week I could barely do 5. Linda turned, and for a moment, Marcus expected to see embarrassment or defensiveness in her expression. Instead, she beamed at him. "I was going to tell you," she said, walking over to embrace her son. "I just wanted to make sure it was working first." Over the next hour, as the other seniors finished their exercises and began to leave, each one thanking Linda warmly, some pressing crumpled dollar bills into her hand that she kept trying to refuse, Marcus learned the truth about what his mother had been doing. 6 months ago, at a community center, Linda had met other elderly caregivers struggling with the same problems. Their spouses, their partners, their loved ones suffering from arthritis, from mobility issues, from the countless ways aging bodies break down. They shared stories over coffee about the isolation, about watching someone they love lose their independence, about feeling helpless. That's when Linda had an idea. She wasn't a trained physical therapist, But she'd spent months researching exercises, watching videos, consulting with a retired nurse from her church who volunteered advice. She'd taken the small disability check Robert received, and instead of using it for their bills, stretching, their other savings to cover necessities, she'd bought used equipment, transformed their basement, and started inviting other elderly people whose families couldn't afford proper care. We pool our knowledge, Linda explained as she made tea for Marcus in the kitchen afterward. Mrs. Patterson down the street was a yoga instructor 40 years ago. Mr. Kim used to be a personal trainer for the Army. We're all broken in different ways, but together we help each other. And your father, her voice caught with emotion. Your father has hope again. He has purpose. They all do. Marcus felt tears streaming down his face. Mom, why didn't you tell me? I could have helped. I could have paid for real therapists, proper equipment, an actual facility, because it wouldn't be the same. His father's voice came from the doorway. He moved slowly, Linda rushing to help him, but he waved her off gently, determined to make it to the table himself. Marcus, you've given us so much already. But what your mother built, it's not just about fixing our bodies. It's about dignity. It's about us helping each other, not just being helped. These people are our friends now. We're not patients in some sterile facility. We're a community. Robert finally made it to the chair and sat, down with a sigh of relief and accomplishment. Do you know what it means to be 75 years old and still feel useful? To help Mr. Kim with his shoulder exercises, because I figured out a technique that works, even though my own hands barely function. That's worth more than any expensive treatment. Marcus looked between his parents, understanding dawning. He'd been so focused on throwing money at the problem that he'd missed what they actually needed. His mother hadn't been keeping secrets out of pride or stubbornness. She'd been creating something beautiful, something that money couldn't buy. How many people are you helping? Marcus asked. 14 now, including your father, Linda said. We meet 3 times a week. Some can only afford to give a few dollars. Most give nothing at all, but that's okay. We're not doing this for money. Marcus sat back, his mind racing. Mom, Dad, what if we could do this properly? Not replace what you've built, but enhance it? What if I rented a real space, got certified therapists to volunteer their time, kept the community aspect but made it safer, more accessible? Linda's eyes widened. Marcus, we couldn't ask you to... You're not asking. I'm offering. Better yet, I'm learning. Marcus reached across the table and took both his parents' hands. You've shown me what I've been missing. I've been so busy trying to solve problems with money that I forgot. The most important thing, connection, purpose, dignity. Let me help you expand this, not change it. 6 months later, the Silver Springs Community Wellness Center opened in a renovated warehouse space. Linda ran it with a small board of the original basement members. They had proper equipment now, licensed therapists who donated time, but the heart of it remained the same. Elderly people helping elderly people, creating community, maintaining dignity. Robert still struggled with pain, probably always would, but he'd regained enough mobility to walk unassisted for short distances. More importantly, he'd regained something Marcus thought was lost: his father's smile, his purpose, his joy. Marcus learned to measure wealth differently after that. Not in dollars or assets, but in the number of people his mother hugged each day at the center, in the laughter echoing through the exercise rooms, in his father's proud declarations about helping someone master a difficult movement. His mother had been working behind his father's back, yes, but not to deceive, to heal, not just Robert's body, but his spirit. And in doing so, she'd healed a part of Marcus too, reminding him that sometimes the most powerful thing you can do with resources isn't to fix people, but to empower them to fix each other. The millionaire's father had lived in pain, it was true, but what his wife was doing behind his back wasn't hiding the struggle. She was building a ladder for him to climb out of it, one supported by the hands of friends who understood, who cared, who made the journey worth taking.